Hi, this is Galit Goldfarb. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Today I'm going to be talking about why is weight loss so hard. And I'll also give about 15 guidelines to make it easier for you. Now, obesity has become so prevalent in the United States in comparison with other countries, and it has a major health toll. And let's look at the numbers for a moment so that we can really understand the current situation. An analysis that was published in The Lancet examined 1,750 published articles on weight from around the world, and the analysis showed that the United States holds the highest number of overweight and obese people in the world, with almost 71% of men and almost 62% of women being overweight or obese, compared to the 38% of men and 37% of women from around the world. Now, this is almost double according to the most recent health data on adults and their obesity rates, with having a BMI over 30. Now, obesity exceeds 35% in 4 states, 30% in 25 states, and is above 20% in all of the other states. So 30% of high school students are overweight in the United States. This is a serious condition. So what is the reason for these numbers? Well, it's not that Americans like to eat more than other nations. No. And it's not that anyone is lazier either. This is not true. It's not that anyone is different from other people around the world or that food is cheaper in the United States. No. As a nutritionist and medical scientist with experience with global populations, I think that it boils down to 2 factors. Number 1, high fructose corn syrup, and number 2, lack of education on nutrition. Now, please wait for a moment before you criticize these factors, and let's look at each one of them in more depth and how a person can change their health destiny simply by following a few simple health promoting guidelines. So let's look at number 1. The reason I chose high fructose corn syrup as my first factor for the obesity epidemic is not for the same reasons that many tend to hear, or you may be hearing from other people advocating against this sweetener. There is a lot of news about the ill effects of high fructose corn syrup, but most of these sources are not based on real facts or research that really looks at the consumption of high fructose corn syrup or its effects on health. In fact, high fructose corn syrup has a very similar composition to plain sugar with regard to the fructose and glucose levels. Research in the past examined 100% fructose and compared it with sugar. Now, fructose is metabolized differently than glucose and is rapidly taken up by the liver, and this has been shown to lead to certain metabolic disorders. But high fructose corn syrup is not made of 100% fructose. It is named high fructose corn syrup because in normal corn syrup, there's no fructose. And as a matter of fact, high fructose corn syrup has similar proportions of fructose and glucose to plain sugar. And this pretty much takes away all of the research that points to the metabolic differences between high fructose corn syrup and plain sugar, because there is really essentially no metabolic difference between the two. However, there is still a reason that I think high fructose corn syrup is a major contributor to obesity in the United States. And the reason is where the high fructose corn syrup comes from. You see, plain sugar comes from sugar cane or sugar beets, whereas high fructose corn syrup comes from corn. And this is a very important difference from an economic perspective, because sugar is mainly grown in equatorial regions of the world, which are also known for unstable political and climatic situations, especially now, causing the price of sugar to fluctuate dramatically. And in response to these factors. And corn, on the other hand, is grown in the United States and is a dependable, renewable, and abundant resource. Therefore, there are no price fluctuations, and there is no problem with availability. And this makes high fructose corn syrup overall a cheaper sweetener than plain sugar. High fructose corn syrup is also manufactured directly as a liquid, making it more easy to use in comparison with granulated sugar, which first needs to be dissolved in water before it can be used in most foods. For these reasons, high fructose corn syrup is so attractive and so popular with American food manufacturers, and it is added practically to everything since it's cheap and it's just like plain sugar. It adds the sweetness, which we all love from an evolutionary standpoint, and it adds great mouthfeel to foods, just as sugar does, which makes the food sell better, which is great from a monetary standpoint. It also adds better structure and adds bulk and is much more tempting as a flavoring, and it also even adds color, just like sugar does. So in the United States, adding high fructose corn syrup to processed foods in such a cheap and attractive way made it so prevalent, and this leaves the American population to receive a lot of much unnecessary calories from high fructose corn syrup in practically all of these foods, without it, of course, providing any nutritional value. Now, when the foods we consume provide us with no nutritional value, what happens is that we stay hungry and we look for something more to eat to provide us, to nourish us, and to provide our nutritionally starving body with what it really needs, which are nutrients. Now, this leads to overeating, and this is where the second factor comes in that causes so many people to follow the path to weight gain and obesity, and it's lack of education. The most amazing thing that I love about the United States is that you can find everything in abundance. Being a capitalistic country, the driving force is success and monetary gain, and that's great. However, at times we seem to forget this fact and allow the media to help us make decisions on what is best for our health when it is really not. But actually, the advertisements are serving the company that is advertising and trying to sell us these products rather than our health. When we get our knowledge from biased sources that do not really have our health as their top priority, then we are doing ourselves an injustice. We need to take personal responsibility for our own circumstances, including our health condition. And the companies making the monetary gain by selling us foods rich in taste and high fructose corn syrup are taking responsibility for their financial situation. But on the other hand, we are the ones who need to take responsibility for our personal health situation by making wiser food choices. Now, reading and learning more about food is extremely important towards leading a healthier lifestyle. And if you have listened to this video up till now, then you're in the right direction for improving your health, and I'm sure it interests you. So in order to help you make wiser health choices, I want to give you 15 dietary guidelines that, when followed, will lead you on the path to optimal health and longevity and natural weight loss. These guidelines are based on my research into the ideal diet for humans, which I call the Guerrilla Diet and Lifestyle Program. I use the word guerrilla because I felt that I had to combat all that I was taught and thought was healthy for me. So here are the 15 guidelines for optimal health and longevity that also lead to natural weight loss. So number 1, you want to consume foods with low energy density. Number 2, you want to consume foods that will not cause inflammation. 3, you want to consume foods that are seasonal. Number 4, you want to consume local foods. Number 5, you want to consume natural foods as much as possible, either cooked or raw, doesn't matter, natural foods. Number 6 is consume foods that won't burden the body with toxins. Number 7, consume foods that are rich in vitamins and minerals and nutrients, other nutrients as well. And you want to, number 8, consume foods that are rich in fiber that help increase digestion rate, weight loss, and toxin removal. Help with so many things because they help support the healthy microbiome as well. Also, you want to consume foods low in animal protein. And number 10, you want to consume foods that are rich in fatty acid, omega-3 fatty acids especially. You also want to consume foods that are rich in calcium and magnesium. And number 12, you want to consume foods that prevent calcium loss. This is very important as well. You also want to consume foods rich in methyl donors, very important to prevent disease, especially if you're genetically prone. Also, number 14, you want to consume foods that are rich in prebiotics for a healthy gut microbiome. Also, you want to get plenty of sunlight or consume foods that are rich in vitamin D or take supplements. especially as you age. And these are some of the guidelines for health and longevity. For more details on each of these guidelines and how to pursue the healthiest diet and lifestyle for humans that can potentially reverse disease and help you naturally and easily lose weight and live a long and healthy life, then you want to check out the Guerrilla Diet Bootcamp. It's a 12-week health and weight loss program based on my research into the ideal diet for humans, and it's available at a very special price on my website, theguerrilladiet.com/special offer. And I give it at such a special price. It's that I could charge a lot more money for this program because I have so much invested in it, but I want to charge less because I want it to reach more and more people to help them join this movement that is changing lives around the world and changing the world as well. So thank you very much for listening. I hope it added value to you. If it did, please give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to my channel if you like this type of content, anything to help you move your health and weight and health and well-being to a better place. And also visit my website, theguerrilladiet.com. Thank you very much for joining.